Lions rule the African savannas, tigers stalk the jungles of Asia, and jaguars prowl the dense rainforests of South America. But when it comes to Australia, something is missing. Despite its vast landscapes, abundant prey, and harsh environments that seem perfect for an apex predator, the continent has never had a native big cat. But what if it did? What would the perfect big cat for Australia look like? Big cats never evolved in Australia, because the continent was isolated long before true cats, the family Felidae, appeared elsewhere. Instead, Australia's top predators were very different. Up until around 50,000 years ago, lion-shaped predators roamed Australia, but they weren't lions at all. They were marsupials, like the formidable Thylacoleo carnifex, nicknamed the marsupial lion. This creature filled a similar niche to big cats, with powerful jaws and a sturdy build, yet it was related to wombats and koalas rather than lions. Marsupial lions, along with other megafauna, died out tens of thousands of years ago, and Australia was left without a large apex predator on land. Fast forward to about 3,500 to 5,000 years ago, when humans brought dingoes to Australia. Dingoes, essentially wild dogs, became the top land predators. Europeans later introduced domestic cats, which went feral much more recently, but those are small cats. So between marsupial predators going extinct and dingoes taking over, Australia never had its native panther, tiger, or lion. So what does our hypothetical Australian big cat look like? Picture an animal that combines the best traits of big cats around the world, engineered for Australia's environments. First off, size. We don't want it too massive, as Australia's prey isn't as large as African buffalo, but it still needs to be powerful enough to take down kangaroos and wild pigs. The ideal size would be roughly on the scale of a large leopard or a cougar, striking the perfect balance between strength, agility, and endurance. A male would weigh between 70 to 90 kilograms, 154 to 198 pounds, while females would be slightly smaller. Speed and agility are crucial. A prime prey item, the red kangaroo, can reach speeds of 60 km per hour, 37 miles per hour in short bursts, with leaps up to 8 to 9 meters long. Our cat must be fast enough to catch a sprinting kangaroo or an emu. We imagine it can sprint at least 60 to 70 km per hour in short dashes. Not quite cheetah fast, but on par with a lion's burst speed. It would have long, powerful limbs and a flexible spine like a cheetah or cougar for chasing prey in open terrain. Its muscle structure would be a hybrid of sprinter and wrestler, strong hindquarters for explosive launches and leaps, and robust forelimbs for grappling large prey. Sharp, retractable claws, perhaps 5 to 6 centimeters long, would grip into prey and also help in climbing trees or rocky outcrops. Now think about jaws and bite force. This cat's skull would house strong jaw muscles, since quick kills are important when tackling big, kicking marsupials. Modern big cats like jaguars have incredibly strong bites, around 1500 psi of pressure, which they use to pierce skulls. Our Aussie cat might not need a jaguar's skull-crushing power unless it's hunting thick-skinned prey, but it would certainly benefit from a big bite. We could give it a bite force on par with a lion or tiger of similar size, maybe even with some marsupial lion DNA magic granting it a higher bite strength-to-weight ratio. The extinct Thylacoleo sets a high bar here, having possibly the strongest bite pound for pound of any mammal. So imagine our cat's canines are long and thick, and its carnassial teeth are well developed for slicing through flesh efficiently. What about fur and coloration? Australia's climates range from hot deserts and savannas to dense forests. Camouflage would be key. Perhaps our cat has a tawny coat with muted spots or stripes, helping it blend into scrub and woodlands. You might picture something like a cross between a leopard's rosettes and a tiger's stripes, but in faded patterns of reddish-brown, grey and tan to match the outback's hues. Alternatively, it could be plain sandy brown like a mountain lion, which is a very adaptable colour. Speaking of heat, our perfect cat would have special heat adaptations. Desert predators often have ways to stay cool. For instance, the sand cat has oversized ears that help radiate heat away. We can imagine our Aussie cat with slightly larger ears than a typical leopard, aiding in heat dissipation and also giving it excellent hearing. It might also be largely nocturnal or crepuscular, active at dawn and dusk to avoid the midday heat, resting in shady caves or under ledges during the day. Perhaps it pants like other big cats and can withstand dehydration. After all, red kangaroos can go without water for long stretches by licking their forearms and conserving moisture, so our cat might also be good at conserving water and hunting primarily when it's cooler. What else would you give this cat physically? Maybe a mane or ruff if it lived in cooler highlands. Probably not a full lion mane, but perhaps males could have a thick neck scruff or slight ruff for protection during fights. The beauty of this hypothetical creature is we can be creative, but also try to stay plausible. Overall, picture an animal that's built somewhat like a leaner lion or a supersized leopard, with desert-savvy adaptations. This is our apex cat of Oz. How would this big cat hunt and behave in the wilds of Australia? The menu for this big cat would feature Australia's abundant medium to large herbivores, especially kangaroos and their kin. Red kangaroos, being widespread in arid and semi-arid zones, would be a prime target. An adult red kangaroo is a formidable opponent. It can deliver strong kicks and has stamina. Our cat would likely favour female kangaroos or sub-adults, which are smaller or target the big males only opportunistically, perhaps via ambush at a waterhole where even a large roo is vulnerable. Other macropods like wallaroos, wallabies and euros would also be key prey depending on the region. These smaller kangaroo species make easier meals. Versatility is crucial in the outback, so our cat wouldn't be a picky eater. It could hunt emus, Australia's large flightless birds, especially juveniles or solitary adults. Emus can sprint 50 km/h and have sharp claws, so a cat might ambush one from cover or coordinate a short chase to grab it by the neck. Feral pigs and goats are invasive in many areas. A big cat could take a young pig or goat and even an adult with a well-placed throat bite. Deer in forested pockets could also be on the menu, similar to how pumas and leopards kill deer. Smaller prey would be eaten when convenient: possums, large birds, and rabbits if encountered. However, chasing rabbits or rodents isn't energy efficient for a predator of this size except as snacks. It will focus on larger catches that can sustain it for days. Carrion might be consumed too, if the cat comes across a carcass, say a cow that died in the heat or a roadkill kangaroo. It will scavenge as long as the situation is safe. The opportunistic streak ensures it squeezes every calorie out of its range. By weight, though, the diet would be dominated by medium to large herbivores, macropods especially, making it a true apex hunter of big game. How would it hunt those fleet-footed kangaroos? Likely with a combination of stealth and short pursuit. Let's set the scene. Dusk in the outback, a herd of kangaroos grazing cautiously. Our predator silently pads through the sparse brush, every muscle taut. Stalking would be its primary strategy, much like leopards or tigers. Australia's landscape can be open, but there are often tall grasses, rocks, and clumps of trees, ideal for an ambush predator to hide in. This cat likely has a patient hunting style. It could spend long minutes or hours inching closer to prey, staying downwind and low to the ground. When the time came, it would burst into a sprint. For a kangaroo or an emu, both capable of fast escape, the cat's strategy might be a short, explosive chase rather than a marathon. It might try to get within, say, 30 meters of the target and then charge. With its powerful legs, it could probably cover that distance in a few seconds. Kangaroos can jink and change direction in a hop. Our cat's long tail helps it to counterbalance and turn sharply to match those zigs and zags. It might swipe with a massive paw to trip the prey, or leap and latch onto it. Imagine it tackling a big roo, grabbing onto the hindquarters or back with claws and delivering a decisive bite to the neck or throat to bring it down. Like most cats, a throat bite to cut off air or a bite to the back of the neck to sever the spine would be the killing method. If the prey is something like a smaller wallaby or a wombat, the cat's approach might differ. maybe a quicker pounce with a neat neck bite, almost like a giant feral cat. Now, consider social behaviour. Would our Australian big cat live in prides, pairs, or alone? Given the environment and likely prey density, it probably wouldn't form large prides like African lions. Those evolved on open savannas with huge herds of game. Instead, think more like a solitary hunter with a large territory, especially for males. Perhaps females might tolerate older offspring for a while or form a loose association with their nearly grown cubs until they disperse. We could even imagine something in between a leopard and a lion. Maybe a mated pair sometimes hunting cooperatively if the prey is dangerous, similar to how some wolf pairs work together. But generally, each cat would roam and hunt on its own, marking territory with scrapes or scent marking on trees. Imagine a future wildlife documentary. The Australian night has a new hunter. The perfect big cat moves like a shadow, vital for keeping nature in balance. Today, Europe's landscapes are slowly regaining their wildness, sparking an intriguing question. Could a big cat ever return to reclaim its place here? If so, how would it look? How would it hunt? And how would modern Europe's ecosystems even handle its presence? Europe wasn't always without big cats. Turn back the clock, and you'll find fearsome felines prowling its plains and forests. Take the Eurasian cave lion, for example. This Ice Age giant roamed Europe until about 12,000 years ago. It was enormous. Fossil evidence tells us cave lions grew up to 7 feet long and weighed around 700 to 800 pounds, making them one of the biggest cats ever. Cave lions inhabited cold woodlands and mountain tundra across Eurasia. They feasted on Pleistocene megafauna, from prehistoric horses to young woolly mammoths. Another legendary cat from Europe's past is the European jaguar. Living roughly 2 million to 350,000 years ago, this feline wasn't exactly a jaguar as we know it, but it was a close cousin. It was a medium-large pantherine cat, bigger than today's jaguars. Studies estimate many weighed between 90 to 120 kilograms, 200 to 260 pounds. Unlike the cave lion, the European jaguar was at home in the forests. Now, armed with lessons from the past, let's start piecing together our ideal European supercat. So, what would our perfectly adapted European big cat look like? Size-wise, this cat would sit comfortably between a leopard and a lion. We're talking about a feline perhaps 3 to 3.5 feet tall at the shoulder, around 1 meter, with males weighing in the ballpark of 120 to 150 kilograms, 260 to 330 pounds, and females a bit smaller. This moderate size ensures a balance: power to subdue prey, but agility to navigate mixed terrain. The build would be muscular but athletic. Imagine the sleek strength of a jaguar combined with the lithe agility of a cougar. Its body is compact enough to weave between trees, with a low center of gravity for stealth stalking, but also stocky enough to wrestle down a full-grown stag. Speed and agility are vital for a hunter in the varied European landscape. Our cat wouldn't be built for marathon chases on open plains, so it doesn't need cheetah-like speed. Instead, it excels at short, explosive sprints and incredible leaps. With long, powerful hind legs, it could probably spring forward at 30 to 40 miles per hour in a burst, just enough to close the gap on an unsuspecting deer within a few strides. It might not sustain that speed for long, but it doesn't have to. 1 or 2 bounds, a lightning charge from cover, is this cat's style. In the dense woods or rugged hills, sure-footedness counts more than top speed. Think of how a snow leopard bounds among rocks. Our cat similarly has excellent balance. A long tail acts as a rudder, helping it pivot quickly and keep balance on rocky slopes or snowy ground. Sharp, retractable claws give it a grip like mountaineering crampons when clambering up a cliff or a tree trunk. This cat would be a decent climber, not quite as arboreal as a leopard, but capable of scaling a sturdy oak to stash a kill or scan the area. Those paws would be broad and equipped with tough pads and fur between the toes, almost like built-in snowshoes. This adaptation lets our cat walk on snow without sinking too deep, a handy trait for harsh European winters. At the business end, we have the jaws and teeth, the tools of the trade for any big cat. The ideal European big cat would boast a bite force to be reckoned with. Modern Jaguars are famous for their crushing bite, and we'd outfit our cat with a similar power. A broad skull and strong jaw muscles would let it deliver a lethal bite to prey, even through thick hide or bone. Unlike the saber-toothed cats of old, we're not giving it oversized fangs that risk breaking. This cat's canines are proportional but thick and slightly curved, perfect for puncturing vital spots. The fur and coloration of our European big cats are designed for perfect camouflage in Europe's diverse landscapes. In summer, its coat is short, sleek, and tawny brown or earthy grey, subtly patterned with faint rosettes or stripes that break up its silhouette in dappled forest light. In winter, the coat thickens significantly and takes on a lighter tones, creamy grey or pale beige, to blend seamlessly with snowy or leafless environments. Males might sport a modest ruff of thick fur around their necks for warmth and protection, giving them a majestic look without sacrificing stealth. Every top predator needs a hearty menu, and our European big cat would have plenty to choose from. Europe's woodlands and mountains are teeming with herbivores. Think deer, boar, and more, and this cat is built to feast. The primary prey would likely be medium to large ungulates. Red deer, the majestic stags and hinds roaming many European forests, would be a favorite target. These deer are plentiful from the British Isles to the Carpathians, and an adult red deer weighing 200 to 300 kilograms for a big male is a solid meal for a big cat. In areas with roe deer, a smaller cousin of the red deer, those would be on the menu too. Wild boar would be another staple. Europe's boars are tough, strong, and can be ferocious when cornered, but our cat has the tools to take them. A boar kill is risky, but it provides a high reward, a dense, fatty meal to fuel the cat for days. Depending on the region, the menu would vary. In the Carpathian Mountains and parts of Eastern Europe, there are even wild cattle and elk. A healthy adult bison weighing nearly a ton would generally be too dangerous for a lone cat, but a calf or a sick one might be an opportunistic target. Similarly, moose roam the forests of Scandinavia and northeastern Europe. Moose are the largest deer in the world. A full-grown moose can weigh 400 to 700 kilograms. Only the bravest and strongest predators dare to take them on. Siberian tigers, for instance, regularly prey on adult moose in Russia. Our European cat, if it lives in the far north, might occasionally attempt this kind of prey. Smaller prey would supplement the diet when large game is scarce. This cat isn't above snatching a hare, rabbit, or pheasant for a quick snack. It could also take down a mouflon or young ibex on a mountainside, using its climbing prowess to surprise sure-footed goats on cliffs. Up in the Alps, our cat might specialize a bit in ambushing alpine ibex or chamois along treacherous ledges, where its balance and power give it an edge. And if it comes across livestock like an unattended sheep or goat, it might indulge. Fish wouldn't be a major part of its diet, but perhaps like a tiger or jaguar, it could swim well and wouldn't hesitate to snatch a fish or waterfowl if the opportunity arises. Yes, our cat can swim, maybe not as fond of water as a tiger, but capable of paddling across a river or lake shallows to pursue prey or cross into new territory. How does this cat execute its hunts? Stealth and ambush are the name of the game. In Europe's mostly wooded and rugged environments, a stalking predator has the advantage over a chasing predator. It likely hunts primarily at dawn and dusk when its prey is active but the light is dim. For a deer-sized game, a common technique is the throat bite, sinking canines into the throat to crush the windpipe or arteries, holding on until the prey suffocates or bleeds out. With its powerful jaws, this cat could also employ the jaguar's signature move, a fatal bite to the back of the skull or neck, piercing the spinal cord. This would be especially useful on prey like boar or maybe smaller bovines, where a quick kill is needed to avoid prolonged struggle. If the prey is large and still fighting, the cat's forelimbs, armed with big claws, wrap and hold on like grappling hooks. You can almost hear the snarl and see the kicking legs of a deer entangled with a tawny blur of fur and muscle. After a kill, our predator faces another challenge: keeping the carcass. In ecosystems with multiple carnivores, dinner can attract unwanted guests like wolves or bears. To mitigate that, our cat might drag its kill to a more concealed spot. Like a leopard that drags an impala up a tree to hide it from hyenas, our cat might not always hoist a carcass into a tree, but it will try to stash the meal out of sight. It could cover it with leaves and dirt as a tiger does, to hide the scent, and come back for leftovers over several days. Where would this perfect cat call home? Stretching across Romania, Ukraine, Slovakia, Poland and beyond, the Carpathians are often hailed as Europe's wild heart. Crucially, the Carpathians host a rich community of wildlife. They are home to Europe's largest populations of brown bears, wolves and lynx, as well as herds of red deer, roe deer, wild boar, and even reintroduced European bison. It's a buffet and a playground for a big cat. Our predator could thrive here, patrolling the dark woodlands and sunny alpine clearings alike. The Alps, spanning countries like France, Switzerland, Italy, Austria, and Slovenia, are another potential stronghold. Now, the Alps are more populated and developed in parts, but they still have extensive wild zones, especially in higher elevations and in national parks. An apex cat in the Alps would need to be particularly wary of humans, sticking to areas less frequented by people, perhaps the deep forests of the foothills and the craggy backcountry above. The boreal forests of Sweden, Finland, and perhaps Norway's taiga represent another enticing habitat. These are vast expanses of pine and birch forests, interwoven with bogs, lakes, and tundra in the far north. Human population density in rural Scandinavia is low, and there's already a precedent of large predators: brown bears, wolves, wolverines, and lynx living there. For a big cat, Scandinavia offers a chilly buffet: moose, red deer in the south, roe deer, and reindeer. Sweden famously has a huge moose population, estimated at around 300,000 to 400,000 in summertime. Beyond these, other pockets of Europe could support the cat: the Pyrenees between Spain and France, and the vast forests of European Russia. Importantly, wherever it lives, our cat would seek habitats with dense vegetation or rugged terrain for stalking cover, plus water sources because prey congregate there and the cat needs to drink too. It would avoid the most human-dominated landscapes like open agricultural plains or cities. In the solitude of a moonlit forest, a deep growl breaks the silence. Our big cat is not chatting with friends, but warning a rival to back off. Unlike lions, which are famous for living in prides, the big cat of Europe would be mostly a solitary creature. Why solitary? Europe's environment, with prey scattered in forests, doesn't favor group hunting the way open savannas do. There's no massive herd of zebra or wildebeest here requiring a team effort. Instead, stealth is paramount, and one cat can slip through the trees much easier than a group. So, our cat lives alone for the most part, each adult maintaining its territory and meeting others only briefly for mating or when raising young. That's all for today. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with your friends. You can also leave a comment with what you would like to see in the following videos. Thanks for watching. See you next time.